Hey, you guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. And for those of you that are also listening on my my podcast, Nonprofit Nuggets with Jennifer Yarbrough. Listen, I want to have a conversation today, a real conversation, a direct conversation. If you guys know me, you guys know that I am very, very direct. Okay. A little bit about me for those of you who may be new to me. I am a nonprofit expert, over 39 years of experience working in the nonprofit as an executive leader, as a professional fundraiser, as a grant writer on the executive side of the nonprofit space. Also, having trained thousands of nonprofit organizations, both nationally and internationally, on how to generate revenue for their nonprofits, how to sustain the work that they have started, and how to really maximize the impact that they have by generating the resources so that they can grow that impact. Today, I want to talk about why 90% of new nonprofits, never get their first grant. Okay. Why 90% of new nonprofits never get their first grant. Now, who am I to speak about this? Not only am I a nonprofit expert, but I'm also a grant writer. I'm also a grant reviewer. I've been writing grants for 39 years. And I can tell you that out of 100 grant opportunities or grant applications that are received, only 15 or 20 are going to be funded. 90% of new nonprofits never get their first grant. Imagine this: you've launched your nonprofit and you're frustrated that the grants aren't coming in, even though your 501(c)(3) paperwork is approved. Listen, you're not alone, okay? Every week, I talk to founders who have a passion, the paperwork, and a purpose, but still can't get a funder to take them seriously. All right? The truth is, 9 out of 10 new nonprofits never receive their first grant. 9 out of 10 never receive the first grant that they've submitted. And it's not because the money isn't available. Billions of dollars in grants go unclaimed every single year. It's because most founders start with the paperwork, but not proof. I'm going to say that again. It's because most founders start their nonprofits with the paperwork and not proof. Today, I'm going to break down for you 5 mistakes that keep new nonprofits broke, overwhelmed, and invisible to funders rather. Okay? 5 mistakes that keep new nonprofits broke, overwhelmed, and invisible to funders. And I'm going to show you exactly how to avoid these mistakes. Okay? Stick around to the end because I'm going to give you guys a free nonprofit fundraising checklist, which is a step by step guide to what funders actually want to see before they ever write a check. All right? First mistake: starting with the paperwork, okay? Let's start with the biggest trap. The biggest trap is thinking that filing your 501(c)(3) means you're ready for grants, right? Jen, I got my nonprofit. Jen, I got my 501(c)(3). Jen, I got my paperwork approved, right? And so getting approved by the IRS makes you legal, but not fundable. Not fundable, all right? Funders don't fund status, your nonprofit status. They fund structure. They want to see that you can clearly connect a real community problem to a measurable solution. Did you hear what I said? They want to see that you can clearly connect a real community problem to a measurable solution. Here's what that means in practice: a problem statement that identifies who you serve, where you serve, and why it matters right now. I'm going to say that again. A problem statement that identifies who you serve, where you serve, and why it matters right now. Most people talk about the symptoms of the problem. or they describe the problem. Okay. But they don't go as far as saying, why does it matter right now? Okay. Are you understanding what I'm saying? The next thing is this: a real program model that clearly maps out the journey from problem, solution, measurable result. Problem, solution, measurable result. Your donor, your funder, your supporter, the grant funder is supporting the measurable result. They're not supporting that you have a status. They're not supporting that you're passionate about your program. They are investing in a measurable result. And then there's a budget. The budget that proves you can manage resources responsibly. Without these elements, reviewers, the grant reviewers, right? They don't know how to prioritize your proposal with the others. It's like turning in a test with your name, but no answers. I'm going to say that again. It's like turning in a test with your name, but no answers. That's an automatic fail, right? This is how you correct that problem. You want to build your program logic first and file the paperwork second. Now, I know that's not popular because there's a lot of people that say, start your nonprofit, you can get a grant. Start a nonprofit, you can get a grant. And so in your mind, you may be thinking, as soon as I get my nonprofit status, I can get a grant. As soon as I get my nonprofit status, then I can get a grant. But what does the grant ask for? It's asking about your program logic. That's what the grant application is asking. So you want to get that done first. The logic, explanation, rationalization, your ability to articulate and clarify why does this program matter? And then file your paperwork second. Because if your nonprofit can't show what it does, for whom, and how success will be measured, that 501c3 letter is just a piece of paper. It's not a funding plan. It's not a case for support, right? Mistake number two: no documented need. No documented need. Most nonprofits are born out of compassion. I want to help, Jen. Jen, I want to start a nonprofit to help people that are going through what I went through. Jen, I want to start a nonprofit because I'm in this field. And because I'm in this field, I see that there's a lot of things that need to happen. And so I want to start a nonprofit because I want to help. So passion is the spark. Passion is the spark, but data is the proof, right? There's a proof that there's a problem, and then your organization proves that you are the solution to that problem. Passion is your spark, but data is the proof. Funders base decisions on evidence. Funders base decision on evidence, not your passion. They're accountable to boards and auditors who ask, what problem are we solving? What proof do you have that it exists? Here's what's done right looks like. In our county, 42% of teens report untreated anxiety. That's twice the national average. Now you've got urgency, you've got location, and you've got data that connects to your mission, right? When it's done wrong. Kids who are struggling everywhere, and we just want to help. Kids are struggling everywhere, and we just want to help. That's emotion, not evidence. That's emotion, not evidence. And funders can't measure emotion. Funders can't measure emotion, right? So this is what you do as to correct that, okay? You collect real numbers. Quote your local health department, your school district, your census data. Interview community members. Cite your sources. Funders love heart stories, but they write checks for a validated need, not good intentions. I'm going to say that again. Funders love a heart story, but they write checks for a validated need, not good intentions. Mistake number three, no budget or an unrealistic budget. Okay. This is a mistake that I see constantly. Either having no budget at all or one that looks like monopoly money. Here's an example: supplies, $100, miscellaneous, $50,000. Supplies, $100, miscellaneous, $50,000. That tells the funder you haven't thought through operations. You haven't thought through the operations. Example number two, all volunteers and no payroll. All volunteers and no payroll, but you're requesting $250,000. I'm going to say that again. All volunteers, no payroll, but you're requesting $250,000. That screams unrealistic. Funders are risk managers. If they see chaos in your numbers, they assume chaos in your management. All right. So you want to make sure that you create a program based budget. Link every dollar to an activity and an outcome. Link every dollar to an activity and an outcome. So instead of $10,000 for supplies, write $10,000, 20 youth workshops at $500 each. That includes materials and the instructor. You see how more clear that is? Even if you're small, show what you can achieve responsibly with 5,000 or 10,000. Credibility is going to get you funded long before scale does. Okay? Long before scale does. Your budget is a story of numbers, not just what you think you need. Okay? So if it's 20 youth at $500 each, and that includes materials plus the instructor, those numbers, that budget tells a story. It tells how many people are we going to serve. It tells how much each person or cost per person is. It also includes what that cost is calculated by, right? So you want to be as specific as possible about those numbers. Mistake number four, writing before you're ready, right? The fourth mistake might be costing you the most time. Writing grants before you're ready. Too many funders Google free grant templates, right? How many of you guys have done that? Don't tell me. Google or ChatGPT free grant templates. And so basically, you're copying someone else's language and you hope it works. What's the problem? Funders can smell generic. Funders can smell generic. Did I mention I'm a grant writer and a grant reviewer? We know when things are generic. We know when things are not written according to scope and capacity of the organization. When the reviewer or the grant funder reads a proposal that doesn't match your mission, they know you're chasing money and not solving problems. They know you're chasing money and not solving problems. All right. So, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take 30 days to build your funding asset. your funding asset before writing a single proposal. Here's a short list. This is what you need. You need a mission and a vision that tie directly to a verified need, a one-page case for support that summarizes your problem, your solution, and the outcomes, right? A board commitment letter to prove leadership buy-in, and basic financial statements. Even if it's modest, it shows transparency that you know how to manage money. All right. This step may feel slow, but it saves you from 100 rejections later. All right. You can't outsource clarity. I'm going to say that again. You can't outsource clarity. You have to own your message before you can sell it to a funder. You have to own your message. You have to know your message. You have to be clear about your message. You have to have a compelling message before you can sell it to a funder, right? And mistake number 5, no follow up or fundraising plan. This is the final mistake, and one that quietly kills most nonprofit organizations. One that quietly kills most nonprofit organizations. And that's no follow up plan, no fundraising plan. Picture this: you finally submit a grant, months of effort, and then silence. You get the "we regret to inform you" email. Most funders never respond, right? Most founders never respond. There's no thank you, no questions, no next cycle. But here's the secret: funders remember consistency more than charisma. All right. So send a thank you letter, even if you get denied. When you receive the declination letter, you send a letter. Thank you so much for reviewing our proposal. We understand the decision and we hope to be able to improve our writing for our next submission. We appreciate your time and your consideration, and we look forward to providing a stronger proposal in the future. Thank you. That's it. Very short and sweet. Ask what could be our next or what could make your next application stronger, right? And you want to keep funders on your update list, right? Quarterly wins, outcomes, letting them know that you took their feedback seriously and you have begun to integrate that feedback into your program communication, into your program evaluation, and into proof that you have, in fact, focused on the outcome of the work and not the passion for the work. All right. The goal is not one-time money, it's relationship funding. This this is how small organizations grow into sustainable ones. You're not chasing checks, you're cultivating relationships. Okay? Let's recap. The 5 mistakes that keep most nonprofit organizations broke. Number 1, starting with paperwork and not proof. 2, skipping the data that proves need. 3, submitting unrealistic budgets. 4, writing before building assets. And 5, failing to follow up or plan ahead. All right. If you recognize yourself in any one of these things, it's not failure. It's not failure. It's feedback. All right. I'm just giving you feedback. And here's the fix: start where funders start. That's the fix. Start where funders start. Build readiness first. The funder is starting with your readiness, not your ask, not your passion, not what you want to do. So you want to start where the funders start, and that's on your readiness. Okay. I have created a free nonprofit funding checklist that walks you step by step through what funders expect when what funders expect before they ever award money. All right. What funders expect before they ever award money. Okay. I've put the link below. Okay. Grab it right now at bit.ly/free nonprofit training. Bit.ly/free nonprofit training. All right. The information is in the description as well. If you'd like, you can upgrade to a nonprofit visibility toolkit that'll show you exactly how to stay visible, credible, and grant ready year round. All right. Listen, remember this: the grant isn't the goal, funding stability is the goal. The grant isn't the goal, funding stability is the goal. You don't need another template, you need a strategy. Okay. You need a strategy. If today's video has helped you, hit the subscribe button, tap the bell, and drop a comment telling me which of these 5 mistakes you've made and what you're going to do to fix it. Okay. In my next live, in my next video, I'm going to be diving into how to start your nonprofit without losing money or momentum. Okay. Until next time, keep building, keep believing, and keep doing the work that changes lives. Your mission matters. Your mission matters. Your program matters. And the work that you want to do to change lives matter. I am Jennifer Yarbrough, your nonprofit expert, here to help you not just start your nonprofit, but to grow it, to sustain it, and to ensure that you have the resources to deeply impact your community on a greater level. I'll see you in the next live.